on this hot Tuesday, right? And it's going to get hotter, correct? Right now, joining me via telephone, I always look forward to this segment, former Congressman Peter King. In a few minutes, folks, we see your telephone calls coming in. We'll get back to you, folks. Congressman, how are you?
Dominic, I'm doing great. I'm enjoying the ice cold weather here.
So you got that AC blasting?
Absolutely. We got to survive, you know?
Yeah. Oh, boy, Congressman, it is hot. What do the kids say? It be hot, or it is hot out there. So a number of issues to get to. A big day at the Supreme Court, striking down the Trump birthright citizenship order, and a blow to the president. But even more than a blow to the president, a blow to all of us. Congressman, what was your position on this? And did the Supreme Court reach the correct decision?
Well, I'm opposed to birthright citizenship, and
Thank
I'm
God.
really not certain. I'm totally against it. On the other hand, when I see someone like Justice Barrett, Justice Roberts, who I'm sure personally are also against it, the question is, are you bound by the 14th Amendment? I know the argument that Mark Levin and others have made that it was not intended to cover kids just brought to this country, the babies being born here. I understand that. So that was a tough one. So I'm also I have a bit of a bias here. My daughter went to law school with Amy Coney Barrett and says she's the smartest person she ever met. So I'm inclined to give that some credibility to her opinion. But I would hope, Justice Kavanaugh, in his dissent, he said that he thinks that this does not have to be changed by a constitutional amendment, that Congress has the power to change the whole issue of birthright citizenship. I would strongly support that. And that, to me, is something that has to be done. I understand people being angry at this. I understand the maybe even sense of confusion. But it is a complicated case only because it's been decided this way now for, 120 years. But I think it's probably wrongly decided then. But it's a question also, do you overturn precedent that quickly or that easily? So, any event, it was I understand the president being disappointed, but I think they should focus now on trying to get congressional legislation through and repeal it that way.
Well, Congressman King, I'm a straight shooter. So there's no other way to say this. The American people are being pimped. In this one instance, you have these women that God knows what they're doing. Oh, I'm pregnant. America, here I come. You pay for me to have my baby. You pay to feed my baby. You pay to school my baby. Oh, my baby is an American citizen. My baby was born here. I need to stay here forever receiving benefits because my child is an American citizen. President Trump had this right. It is downright wrong for the American people, Congressman King.
Oh, it is. It is wrong. But I would just make the analogy. For instance, I think flag burning is wrong. Justice Scalia thought it was wrong.
So do I.
But Justice Scalia, who, by the way, Amy Coney Barrett worked for, Justice Scalia, as much as he was opposed to it, he wouldn't allow a law to be passed prohibiting it because he said the flag burning was protected by the Constitution. That was his view of the Constitution, and he was a down-the-line conservative. So you can be opposed to something, but not necessarily say that it can be changed without changing the Constitution or without having statutory changes. That's really all I'm saying here. But I agree with you. It's a terrible situation, and it's something that's been abused. This was never, I don't believe it was ever the intent. I mean, my understanding and reading of the legislative history at the time is that the 14th Amendment was intended solely for the children of slaves born here in this country. And that was the intent. That anyone, slaves and their children, anyone born in this country under slavery became a citizen. That was the intention of the 14th Amendment. And then I guess the Wang decision in the 1890s extended that to the children of people who, well, actually, the parents were not citizens, but they were here legally. So to me, I think listen, I could have gone either way on this decision. I have no doubt where I stand as far as the policy position, but how you do it within the Constitution, that to me was a real issue.
Yeah, Congressman King, I'm looking up now, and it just breaks my heart every time I think about it. The mother of Sheridan Gorman is testifying on Capitol Hill. Her daughter goes to college in Chicago. You've got that bozo of a mayor there, and the young lady shot by an illegal. She dies, 18 years old. She should be home in Westchester County right now, New York, enjoying her summer or doing a summer job. And I'm thinking about her sister. I'm thinking about her mother. I'm thinking about her father. Those people mentally will never be the same. There is a sadness that they will never, ever, ever get over. So the Supreme Court did get one thing correct, upholding the state bans on trans athletes in girls' sports. Congressman King, how ridiculous has this gotten? I mean, listen, I got to be straight with you, Congressman. I support gay rights, but this is on a whole other extra level. You got athletes that look like they're trying out for the New York Jets talking about I'm a woman and I should be able to take part in girls' sports. No, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't. What's your take on that one?
Oh, I think the Supreme Court decision was 100% right. I think it also justified what Bruce Blakeman did here in Nassau County, where he was one of the first local governments to adopt a local law or an ordinance prohibiting transgenders in women's sports. And what I find really terribly ironic and really hypocritical about this is that these great advocates of women's rights, everything is a woman's right, everything is women's right, but they're also supporting transgenders begin there, which take away women's rights. I mean, you have young girls, women who have trained their whole lives, who are superb athletes, but the reality is there is a difference between men and women, especially when it comes to athletics, and that's just the way it is. And to allow someone to claim that he is a woman and therefore should be allowed to compete against women it's a terrible violation of women's rights. The Supreme Court did the right thing, but I think it's ridiculous. If anyone would have said to me 10 years ago, you're going to be on a radio show with Don McCarter talking about whether or not transgender men should be able to compete against women in athletics, I said, who would care about that? That's never going to happen. Where did you come up with that crazy idea? I mean, this is so off the wall, and yet now it's become a major topic because of these advocacy groups pursuing it and supporting it. So thank God the Supreme Court did what it did today. 27 states have already adopted this legislation, and there's nothing bigoted or biased about this at all. It's a reality. And that's why it's important that laws like this are passed. If you're really interested in women and women's sports and women getting ahead and equal rights for women, then you should not be allowing transgenders to take part in female sports.
Well, just imagine how I feel, Congressman King, half the time right before we hit air and there's been a mass shooting and we're sitting there looking at the picture and I'm saying to these guys, is this a man or a woman? Well, Dominic, we think it's a woman. Wait, Dominic, it's transgender. We got to be politically correct. What am I supposed to call her? What am I supposed to call him? Do I use his birth name? Do I use his female name? Every time there's a headache, Congressman King, I wish you could see me right now, Congressman King, because I'm doing my Sophie Cunningham. I am pointing at the camera with my arm out, and I'm pointing at the camera with my arm out in defiance of those athletes in the WNBA that think they're going to intimidate Caitlin Collins and Sophie Cunningham. No, those two should be the face. I'm still pointing, Congressman King. They should be the face of the WNBA. So, Congressman King, you referenced this, right? The way that some of these athletes look. So the one with Caitlin Clark, did you see the arms on this young lady? The one that had her arm on her neck? Did you see the muscles that this young lady, that this athlete, did you see the arms that this athlete had?
No, I also saw, though, the blatant violence. I mean, this has been going on. You know, people talk about Jackie Robinson. What he had to go through was horrific. And one thing was that almost all good people at that time stood up for Jackie Robinson. They realized it was terrible what he was going through. People were spiking him, throwing balls at him, insulting him. Caitlin Clark, every night it seems she's out in the court. She's getting punched, getting belted, and you saw them with the actually arm and the throat. So thank God she has someone like Sophie Cunningham on the team to stand with her. But where are the referees? I mean, if this was being done, and no offense to you, because I know you're a proud African-American, proud black, the fact is that the referees sort of look the other way when it's
it would never happen.
White.
It would never happen.
Exactly. It was the other way around. Absolutely. And it shouldn't. It shouldn't happen either way. And the fact that it's going on. Also, the irony here is Caitlin Clark is an incredibly gifted athlete, but she has made the WNBA. Only a handful of real advocates or fanatical fans watching the WNBA. It's just the reality. Caitlin Clark is the one that got it into the mainstream, and that's why people are watching. It's all of these athletes who are punching her and hitting her from behind, taking cheap shots. They're making big money because of her. And so I'm glad it's also someone like Sophie Cunningham, who's so articulate and is able to defend her, is out there, is in the forefront. So it's not like some dummy out there defending her. She is a strong, fierce advocate defending her. She herself, I don't know how she puts up with it. You know, she could go over to Europe and probably make 10 times more money, and she wouldn't be getting beat up every night. So, but they're going to end up. I mean, that shot she took to the throat, that could have caused permanent injury, permanent damage.
Absolutely. And, absolutely. Hey, Congressman, another Supreme Court ruling. This one came down yesterday. I want you to listen to this. E. Jean Carroll, right? I think here she's with Anderson Cooper. And folks, you can always tell when someone has said something outrageous and an anchor as polished as Anderson starts stuttering because he doesn't know what to do. And then you go into a panic, and your producers that know you, the producers are reading your body as you're doing the interview. And the producers are saying, I've been in this situation, folks. The producers are saying, Dominic's in trouble. He's in trouble. Get him out of this. Toss to the break. And so that's what Anderson hears in his ear. This is E. Jean Carroll on rape.
Victim.
You don't feel like a victim?
I was not thrown on the ground and ravished. Which, the word rape carries so many sexual connotations. This was not sexual. It hurt. It just, you know.
Well, I think most people think of rape as it is a violent assault. It is not.
I think most people think of rape as being sexy.
Mm. Let's take a short break.
Think of the fantasies.
Mm. We're just going to take a quick break. If you can stick around, we'll talk more on the other side.
You're fascinating to talk to.
Anderson was in trouble. Congressman King, stand by. He was in trouble. Folks, I've been there. The producer that knows you the best says Dominic is in trouble. Get him out of it. Toss to a break, Dominic. Toss. So that's part one, Congressman. So the Supreme Court upheld the decision in her case. President Trump on the hook for $5 million. Defamation, sexual abuse. I'll come right back to you in just 1 second. E. Jean Carroll, I want you folks to hear this, right? She goes on Rachel Maddow, right? I think this is the day that the verdict came down, whatever. And you might as well say, wee, because that was her reaction. She promised Rachel Maddow with her two lawyers sitting on each side. These women looked like they were about to have a nervous breakdown sitting next to E. Jean Carroll. And she promised to take Rachel Maddow shopping.
Tell me, I had such great ideas for all the good I'm going to do with this money. First thing, Rachel, you and I are going to go shopping. We're going to get completely new wardrobes, new shoes, motorcycle for Crowley, new fishing rod for Robbie. Rachel, what do you want? Penthouse? It's yours, Nothing. Rachel. Penthouse and France? You want France? You want to go fishing in France? No? Oh. All right. Okay.
So, Congressman King, the Supreme Court siding with E. Jean Carroll, essentially. President Trump still on the hook. What do you make of this?
Well, actually, what they did was, what they said was there was no federal issue, and that's really it. To get to the U.S. Supreme Court, you have to show a constitutional issue. I think the real mistake was made in the New York courts. That's where it was made, at the jury level, at the appellate division level, because really under federal rules, you can only get into the Supreme Court if it involves a federal constitutional right. And what happened in the Trump-Carroll case, that was a jury issue and a local judge issue, and really the court didn't have jurisdiction over it. So what they decided to do was not to take the case. They didn't even decide on the merits. They just said that they were not going to deal with it. And I understand that, but I agree with you. I think it was a terrible injustice. And the whole thing seemed improbable from the start, but her attitude toward it, and you're right. I mean, Anderson Cooper is a pretty gifted guy, a pretty able guy, whether you agree with him or not. He generally knows what he's talking about, even when you disagree with him. He just seemed almost at a loss for words, because she was making really no sense. And if this is, and it is, I mean, let's face it, rape is a very, very serious issue, and yet she's there joking about it. She's going to go out and buy new clothes for Rachel Maddow. I mean, if this had all been true, don't you think she would be still traumatized? She would be saying how what a bittersweet decision it was, that type of thing. Instead, it was like one big game she was playing, which could have been, I don't know. But to me, that case to me is I think it was a miscarriage of justice. But again, the courts have decided in New York. I think the real fault lies in New York. When I was in law school, the New York court system was looked upon as a model. Like the New York Court of Appeals, for instance, that was put on a level with the United States Supreme Court. If you were writing something, if you were in an exam and you wanted to cite a case and you could quote the New York State Court of Appeals, that was just about equivalent to the U.S. Supreme Court. And all the courts down below, whatever imperfections there were, the New York court system was really looked up to. Now it's just an extension of the left wing of the Democratic Party.
And it's so sad. Congressman Peter King, as always, thank you so much for joining us. Stay cool, Congressman.
Yes. Tomorrow is my son Sean's birthday, July 1st, and he thinks the whole world should celebrate his birthday, so I'll celebrate it anyway.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You said Sean is his name?
Sean, yep. Yeah, Sean.
Tell Sean we said happy birthday. And yes, it should be about Sean tomorrow. It is his birthday. Congressman King, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dominic.